will reconvene the Parker Town Council at 7 p.m. on September 18th. All council members are present. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up on our agenda is public comments. Public comment is an opportunity for town residents and other interested individuals to speak about items that are not on the agenda. This comment period is limited to the first 30 minutes total time of the meeting, with each individual allowed for a 3-minute maximum, and then we'll catch up at the end of the meeting if there's any further after the 30 minutes. So I do have one public comment signed up. Mr. Adams, you're signed up. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? Nope. Come on down, Mr. Adams, and if you will state your name and address for the record.
This working? Not work? All right. Christopher Adams, 12581 Prince Creek Drive. I want to start by saying that the gun violence that happened in the Star Ranch subdivision on Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 is unacceptable and concerning. However, there are larger issues that need to be addressed regarding how those perpetrators were apprehended. As you recall, I addressed my concerns with this council about automatic license plate readers back in May via email and again in June via public comment. We now have a situation where rights are being infringed and the deemed necessity of safety is not enough to shield the police, HOA, flock safety, and potentially the town itself. The chief addressed some of my concerns in a July 14th, 2023 email where he stated the town does not generally endorse any specific vendor or product and is not endorsing flock systems. Then the day after the drive-by shooting, the Parker Police post to Facebook, "Flock cameras for the win." Using data from the flock camera system, officers identified the vehicle and are currently interviewing 2 people of interest in the case. This is a complete about-face and is an explicit endorsement of the system by the police department only 2 months after stating that the town and the police do not endorse specific vendors, let alone flock or ALPRs. Why are we now endorsing this technology? Additionally, how did the police obtain access to these readers? Under the policy of Stowe Ranch Community Association regarding a policy for automatic license plate reader cameras, which was approved by the Board of Directors unanimously on July 10th, 2023, the policy section 5 states, the board may approve sharing of video images or footage with the appropriate outside parties or as may be directed by a duly issued court order. Did the police obtain a court order? And who did get the board consent? I find the board consent hard because the HOA meets on the first Monday of odd-numbered months. This shooting happened after the first Monday, which means it should be up for discussion in November, which would also mean the data used to arrest Mr. Gomez and Mr. Selly would, in theory, have been deleted by that time after the 30-day period. The policy also states that the secondary uses are to provide the police and sheriff in the course of an active investigation upon request or with an issued warrant. Was a warrant issued to access the data? Who was contacted to request access to the system? Again, the board meets odd months, therefore it should be an outstanding request rather than a completed investigation. My final concern is there's a supposed memorandum of understanding out there that was said to be drafted by the town attorney's office. The HOA and Flock say that the MOU is a contract between the police and Flock on how to access the system, but the police say that the town does not have a contract, nor is the town currently entering into a contract with Flock or reviewing a Flock safety release. And any contract for the Flock services would be between Flock and specific HOAs, and the town is merely providing licensing agreements to install. This MOU is integral into who at the police, if anyone, has access and how this access was obtained. Needless to say, there's greater issues that need to be addressed by implementing the technology in Parker, and I believe it's been rushed and the populace is not educated correctly, thus it's causing strife and some discontent between the police, HOAs, and those living in the town. We claim that Parker is safe and so the town is safe, but we're installing these systems and it does little to calm the fears. It only makes Parker look like the area is being taken over by Big Brother rather than the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Anyone else in the audience wishing to make public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. I will start to my immediate left, Councilmember Dyak.
Thank you very much, Mayor. On the 11th of September, as a part of E470, I went to Douglas County to give a roadshow report to all 3 of the commissioners. On the 13th, I attended the Big Picture with a number of other council members. On the 14th, we had an E470 all-day board retreat. We had trends and implications. We had Dr. Cog come and provide some high-level regional trends that are emerging. We had a financial history of E470 by our finance director. We had a strategic plan overview because we are about to engage in a refresh of the strategic plan here the next year. And we had a review of our projects policy. That is how places like Parker can engage E470 to put projects on the E470 master plan, which will be, again, refreshed in about a year or two. That is all.
Councilmember Wilks?
So I want to make sure I can save for the other people that came. I'm just going to talk about on Thursday, the 14th, in conjunction with the Chamber. I attended their event at the new Sky Ridge Emergency Room here in Parker. It's by Fuzzy Tacos, and it was just nice to see that we've got more opportunities for our community for people that need healthcare services.
Great. Councilmember Hefta?
Yes, it was a busy couple of weeks for me. This past Saturday, I attended the Mayor's Day of Service here in the CCC Bar Park with the mayor and my sons, and we did some clearing out of dead wood so that the parks folks at the town of Parker can come and pick that up later on. A lot of people came out, and Jeff Serve hosted the organization for volunteerism. I also attended the CAO networking event at Cherokee Ranch with Councilmember Wilks and the mayor. And I'm trying to think of a few others. Y'all have to chime in on that. I also attended the Big Picture with Councilmember Dyack, and that was sponsored by the town. And Michelle Kivala our town manager, ran that, and she did a wonderful job and updating all employees about what's going on with the town. And I also attended this Colorado Municipal League conference, fall conference in Lone Tree with many folks from around the state of Colorado. And I also attended the Douglas County Homeless Initiative meeting, where they rolled out some new websites on this matter, and they also went over their Douglas County Homeless Initiative blueprint of how they provide services from basically the start to the finish, if you want those. And I also spent a considerable amount of time also updating my blog on my website, because on that website I do accumulate a lot of the issues that are here that we discuss at Town Council, and a lot of the resources. It's a very well done resource page with all the issues going on in Parker that I can think of. So I did spend a considerable amount of time updating my own personal website. Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report.
Great. Councilmember Barrington?
I don't really have much to report either. Thanks.
Councilmember Rivero?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did miss the public meeting on September the 5th, so I will go back just a little bit in time. Parker hosted the Cherry Creek Basin Watershed Conference, which was a coming of minds of all the water mines in the region. Fabulous. I got to meet the gentleman who coined the phrase dendritic, so it was the top of my month there. But yeah, it was a great conference. Parker was well received. And then I attended a tour of Parker by Douglas County, Downtown Colorado Inc. Different elected officials and staff members came to Parker to tour our downtown and what we're doing with our ERA and with our BID. Or with the BID's potential is, and to look at the new developments. So again, always love to show off our hometown. And then this week is my busy week. Councilwoman Barrington and I will interview 6 youth commissioner applicants tomorrow. And then I'll be busy the rest of the week. Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you. And for me, I was out in Florida last week. So Mayor Pro Tem, thanks for keeping things together here. On Thursday when I returned, I had a chance to go out to the Vail School, the Venture Academy of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, and talk to them about marginalized groups and how they get their voice. So it was an interesting conversation. I will tell you that the kids at that school are extremely, extremely smart. I was very impressed. Saturday was the Mayor's Day of Service. We had 300 to 500 people out there on the trails, digging into the creeks and getting out for us. So Brett, Mary, you got your hands full out there. There's a lot of big piles out there. And they went for the big logs, too. They weren't going for the little ones. So it was good. And Councilmember Hefta's 2 sons were out there, too. They discovered a beaver dam out there and got some sticks. It was amazing, amazing. Coming up, though, this Thursday is the Douglas County Community Foundation's Heroes Gala, where we'll be honoring all the first responders, including our Town of Parker first responders and police. So looking forward to that. And then on Friday, I have the opportunity to welcome Nobel Peace Prize winner Lima Gabawe to the Town of Parker. And she is the founder of the Gabawe Peace Foundation of Africa. And she was responsible for getting Christian and Muslim women together to play a pivotal role in ending Liberia's 14-year civil war. So she'll be visiting the Town of Parker. We'll be showing her places. We'll be showing her the amazing coffee we have in the Town of Parker. And Brandy and Ann, if she wants to buy a place here, we'll make sure that you guys can find it out. But really looking forward to that. And then we have a gala in her honor with the one of the schools here in Parker that evening. So it's a big week coming up too as well. So thank you all for those reports. With that, we'll move on to consent agenda. The consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion for items on the consent agenda unless council votes to remove an item for individual discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only and will not be removed for discussion. So council, you have items 4A through 4C for your consideration.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4C, please.
Second.
Motion was made by Rivera and seconded by Hefta. Rivera?
Aye.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 6-0. Next up is our first of 2 ordinances. Ordinance number 3.268.4 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend subsection 13.07.130H of the Parker Municipal Code concerning dedication statements. Bryce, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. As noted by the mayor, on the agenda tonight is an ordinance regarding dedication statements. The on switch does amazing things. All right. As you may recall, about a year ago, Town Council approved Ordinance 3.362 regarding the location of utility easements. Briefly, the primary issue at the time was above-ground utility equipment in residential front yards and transformers serving single businesses, buildings in their front yards. The proposed changes tonight are after 11 months of the code and looking for opportunities to improve it and to respond to some unexpected issues. This particular ordinance is addressing dedication statements. It will update the dedication statement language regarding utilities. It also reformats the statement to be more readable, breaking it up into statements into categories. So it's not so much of a run-on statement, but more easily read. There was a question from Planning Commission regarding sidewalk maintenance. Sidewalk maintenance is not addressed in the dedication statement because it is addressed in the Parker Municipal Code and by policy. And that allows the flexibility for that to change over time. Core and Excel have reviewed the utility language and have expressed support. Planning Commission held a public meeting on September 14th, 2023, and recommended unanimously approval of this ordinance. Therefore, staff and Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve the ordinance that will amend the Parker Municipal Code regarding dedication statements As always, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Bryce. We'll go to staff comment or staff questions. Councilmember Hendricks, you want to start us off? No questions. Councilmember Barrington?
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Rivera?
We are just getting more descriptive, not more loose. Is a way, we're not giving up any restrictions that we had put in place, correct?
Correct, we're being more clear
More
in
clear
the
about
language
restrictions.
and breaking it up into the particular sections.
Excellent, thank you.
Councilmember Dyak?
No questions.
Councilmember Wilkes?
No questions.
Councilmember Hefta?
No questions.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up public comment at 7:15 on this topic. Anyone from the public wishing to make comment? Mr. Adams, come on down. Let me set your time here. Okay, and name and address for the record.
Christopher Adams, 12581 Prince Creek Drive. Overall, I agree with the ordinance. It's much better than the current municipal code we have. If you guys have the packets in front of you, I'm on page 47, under utility easements. We're adding the word fiber. I think we need to be a little bit more specific and add fiber networks, fiber cables, fiber optics, something, because that's just a random fiber word thrown in there. Reading the rest of the sentence, you understand it's for those cables, but if we're redoing it, might as well be specific right here from the beginning. And then if you look on the next page of the packet, 48, where it says drainage stormwater, the added language at the very front, drainage and detention easements, if you look 2 sentences after, we're pretty much duplicating the same language, so we're saying the same thing twice. One is specific to chapter 4.08. Don't know if that's meant to be there, specific or different. It kind of seems like we're trying to state the same thing at the beginning, and then we're coming down saying covered by chapter 408, or if we're really saying that, we should just move the chapter 408 up top and get rid of that duplicative language. Additionally, down here, we say from and to, ingress and egress from and to adjacent properties. That's kind of an interesting way of saying it, where we could just say ingress and egress among all adjacent properties, rather from and to, or switch it to and from, which is a little more readable for people to understand what we're saying. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to make public comment on this topic? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public comment at 7:17. Bryce, any final comments?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, great. Council will come back one more time for any comments or debate. We'll start with Councilmember Hendricks. No comments. Okay, Councilmember Barrington.
No comments, thank you.
Councilmember Rivera.
No comments.
Okay, Councilmember Dyak.
No comments.
Councilmember Wilkes.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Hefta.
I'd like to thank Mr. Adams for his public comment, and I'm sure that our staff will be looking into those things, and Mr. Adams ever wants to apply to the attorney position with the town of Parker. Just joking.
Right.
Thank you.
With that, we'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 3.268.4.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 3.286.4, please.
I'll second.
Yeah. Motion is made by Rivera and a quick acting Councilmember Hendricks. Rivera.
Aye.
Barrington.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak.
Yes.
Wilkes.
Aye.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 6-0. Next up is ordinance number 3.362.1 on second reading. A bill for an ordinance to amend section 13.02.010 and section 13.10.090 of the Parker Municipal Code concerning utilities.
Thank you again, Mayor, members of council. As noted, before you is an ordinance regarding definitions and utilities. Same history. This is following up on the 2022 ordinance regarding utilities. Again, the proposed changes are to improve the code and respond to unexpected issues and create some clarification. So proposed changes include adding additional options for the location of utility equipment, including underground equipment in the required sidewalk and utility easements adjacent to the front yard is permitted. Underground equipment within a front yard pocket easement is permitted. So a front yard pocket easement is where any utility would come down a side lot line and jog for less than a lot, and then get to a perpendicular location where it can cross the street. Screened above-ground equipment is permitted in easements and tracks, easements that are in tracks, for like tracks for open space parks, buffers, those types of things. In addition, there's a definition to on-site utilities and equipment. Also, there are clarifying standards for the location of equipment easements within commercial and light industrial developments. Also clarifying standards for properties with multiple street fronts. So there are commercial properties out there that have 3 street fronts, makes it very difficult to have nothing in the front. Provides guidance that the least active street front could allow for utility boxes in that frontage. Also adds a clear allowance for improvements and connections to existing underground facilities. These are switchgear boxes. So if there's an existing line that goes by your property, with development you need to attach it, it allows for that switch box to be there so you don't have to move the entire line. Again, Planning Commission held a public meeting on September 14th. They voted unanimously in support of this ordinance. Staff and the Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve an ordinance that will amend the Parker Municipal Code regarding definitions and utilities. As always, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Great. Thanks, Bryce. We'll start to my far left, Councilmember Hefta.
Yes, briefly, just Bryce on this. So it adds a number of very specific standards and definitions to the on-site utilities and equipment. So about how many changes do you know were made on those?
Oh, geez, that's a tough question. I didn't count them.
Okay. At least 6 maybe, or 7?
I was going to say 7 or 8.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
you.
Anything else, Laura?
No.
Councilmember Wilks?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Dyak?
No questions.
Councilmember Hendricks?
No question.
Councilmember Barrington?
No questions.
And
thanks.
Councilmember Rivera.
Any chance you reached out to our partners again on this one to get their input?
Yeah, so we've actually been continuously in contact with them through development review process and helping to develop these changes to address kind of looking for the town's needs and desires, but also kind of the functional needs of providing utility services.
And when you describe sidewalk easements, are we talking tree lawns? Is
So,
that,
so in our code or in the roadway design manual, there are roadway sections for local roads. They have a width of the right-of-way, and then they have a sidewalk and utility easement on the outside
Okay.
of that. That includes, yes, the sidewalk to tree lawns, that area.
yeah, it's interesting. I say that because the fiber companies that are coming through the neighborhoods currently are using the tree lawns for their undergrounding and their boxes and their switches and all of that. So I was curious why that wouldn't be applicable to other utilities, and now it can be. So, well done. I think that's all I have.
With that, we'll open up the public comment at 7:23 on this topic. Anyone wishing to make public comment on ordinance number 3.362.1? Seeing none, we'll close it at 7:23. Council will bring it back for any final comments, questions. Councilman Rivero, start with you.
No comments.
Councilmember Barrington,
No, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks,
No comments.
Councilmember Dyak,
No comments.
Councilmember Wilks,
No?
Councilmember Hefta.
It's always good to clarify our ordinances and clarify the definitions and update standards. So thank you very much, Bryce.
With that, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 3.362.1.
I move to approve ordinance number 3.286.4 on second reading.
It's 3.362.1.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's a good thing I put my glasses. Oh, did I open up the wrong one? Sorry, somebody else.
You can do a redo.
Redo.
Yeah.
I move to approve ordinance number 3.362.1 on second reading.
Second?
Motion is made by Barrington, seconded by Wilks. Rivero?
Aye.
Barrington,
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak.
Yes.
Wilkes.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 6-0. Next up, thank you, Bryce, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up is contracts over $500,000, the O'Brien Park Streetscape Construction Contract. Mr. Collins.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Unfortunately, tonight, I'm here to tell you that I do not have a contract for the council to approve tonight. We had some issues with the bonding on the Sabel's construction company. They have an issue with their bonding company, so we won't be moving forward with that. I am requesting a continuance to October 2nd, 2023 for this item, that town council meeting. And with that, I'd answer any questions.
All right, council, I'll entertain a motion to move this to October 2nd, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, I move to continue this agenda item to a date certain of October the 2nd, 2023, please.
Second.
Motion is made by Rivera, second by Hefta. Rivera.
Aye.
Barrington.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak. Wilkes.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 6-0 with no other business before the Parker Town Council.
Mr. Mayor, before you adjourn, could I ask that you incorporate into the record the written comments that council received?
Yes.
Thank you.
So council, as a part of public comment, you have at your desk comments from Bailey Beach, Reese Brzezinski, and Josh Hellinger. All right, now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Barrington, seconded by Wilkes. Rivera.
Aye.
Barrington. Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak. Wilkes.
Aye.
Hefta.
Yes.
And we're adjourned at 7:26.